My last video was about the best fights in High School DxD, so I thought it would be a good idea to do the opposite, the worst fights in High School DxD. I've said this in my last video, but I'm not a huge fan of most of the fights in High School DxD, and the fights I'm about to talk about are some fights I really don't like. I'll quickly go over what I think makes a fight good again, just for the people who missed my last video. Animation and fight choreography are very important. They make the fight look good. Without them, the fight's not going to be good. Stakes are important. This isn't really ever a big problem in High School DxD. Almost all of their fights have some type of stakes. The outcome is important too. Did the right person win? Even if they didn't, did they at least lose while looking strong? This can completely change how a character is viewed. And the last thing is how the fight makes you feel. And those are the things that makes a fight good for me. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get to the first fight.
Die, devil! Damn straight I'm a devil!
This fight is terrible for so many reasons. One of the biggest reasons I think this fight is so bad is because nobody cares about it and nobody remembers it. I think this is the only fight in High School DxD that I consistently forget about. Every time I get to this point in season 4, I always forget this guy exists. They even show like a little snippet or flashback of a fight the group has with him before this fight takes place. And I still somehow manage to forget about this fight every time. First of all, that's just bad writing on the anime's behalf. You can't cut a part out and then show a random flashback and expect us to care or remember it. That's just lazy and bad writing. This fight also feels so out of place because of how random that flashback feels. It just feels like Issei getting attacked by some random guy. Another problem is Conla himself. This guy has like an actually really interesting sacred gear, but he doesn't know how to use it. He just wasted potential at this point. And he's such a forgettable character that I don't even think they say his name in the anime. I can't remember if they did or not. Another huge problem with this fight is how Issei wins. So Issei just randomly pulls out this fire power that isn't explained in the anime. It's not even mentioned when he uses it. And again, this is just bad writing. And it kind of goes back to season 3. Because in season 3, they completely left out the fact that Issei learned that fire attack from Tanin. But they could have at least still said something about the fire attack. Like Issei could have been like, oh, that's my move that I learned from Tanin. That would have been better than nothing. I don't know why they would just expect the viewer to know that he learned this attack from Tanin, because not every viewer reads the light novel. I remember when I first watched that scene, I really thought I forgot something. It's just so weird to put that in there without giving any type of explanation. This fight also has like no stakes at all. Like this fight just doesn't matter. There isn't a single person on this planet, on the next planet, in the next universe, in the DxD verse, in the Dragon Ball verse, in any world that thought Issei was going to lose this fight. It's just done terribly. Even when they start fighting, it's animated lazily. I mean, this dude like throws this little shadow at Issei and catches him on the wall, and then that's the only offense you see from him. And then all Issei does is use his fire attack and then punches him. Everything about the fight was bad. I'm trying to think of a redeeming quality about this fight, but I really can't think of one. I guess the shadow dude's armor looks cool. That's all I can say. And of course Issei looks cool too. But yeah, this fight was really bad and probably my least favorite fight in the anime. Like this fight just feels like it's there just to fill in time. Overall, this fight gets an ass rating from me. This next fight is also pretty bad.
In that case, my ability allows me to absorb my opponent's attack and redirect it wherever I wish. Please observe.
This fight genuinely bothers me every single time I watch it. This is definitely one of the worst fights in the anime. And it's not even because I think the wrong person won. I can get behind the fact that Cyberworks Queen won. The problem I have is the way Akeno lost. She died in one hit, and this just makes her look so weak. It's just so poorly done. A fight I like is Cyberworks versus Zenobia, Kiba, and Roswaisa. The reason I like this fight is because even when losing, they make Zenobia, Kiba, and Roswaisa look really strong. But then they do the complete opposite for this fight. This fight just makes Akeno look so weak. And also makes her look stupid because she gets outsmarted in 8 seconds. Akeno is supposed to be one of the strongest characters in Rias' peerage at this time, but it really doesn't feel like it, especially when she has fights like this. You also gotta think, this is the only fight Akeno appeared in the entire season. Like, we don't get to see any of Akeno this entire season, and this is the fight that she appears in, and that's how they do her. You would think they would try to give her some type of fight, but instead she gets one-shotted, and when she's not fighting, she's on the bench giving out elite tier high fives. She was basically the Grimmery team's cheerleader that was forced to fight once. just riding the bench the whole time and handing out water. She really has no reason to be getting wiped out in one hit. I guess you could say the fight was there to make the queen look strong, but that doesn't even work. They don't even do a good job at that. When the fight's over, I'm not thinking, wow, that queen really looks strong. She's a force to be reckoned with. Instead, I'm left thinking, wow, they really looked over that fight and gave it the green light to be in the anime. I really think they would have made Cyberworks queen look stronger if they would have just gave her an actual fight. I mean, this fight is just lazy in every way. The animation is lazy. Like, just look at it. It just looks so bad. I'll let you in on a little YouTube secret. I can only play DxD clips for like 20 seconds before I get copyright strike. For this Akeno fight, I can pretty much put the entire fight into the video without getting any type of strikes. That's how you know this fight isn't good. Like, it's short, it's ugly, and it's lazy. What did they do good with this fight? I'm trying to figure it out. I actually can't think of anything that this fight accomplished, except for making me annoyed. It really feels like they were just trying to get to the next fight as quickly as possible. And then, I mean, what's the point of building up a queen to look strong if she's just going to get squashed by Issei in the next fight? So even if their plan was to make the queen look strong, that's just wasted. There's no reason to do that. This fight is just so bad, and it's so annoying because it feels like they just buried Akeno. We don't ever even get to see Akeno fight that much, or we don't get to see her get like her own fights. She's always in group fights, or she's just like the finisher on the team. But when we do, none of her fights are actually good. And this fight is definitely one of the worst fights I've seen, and it just feels disrespectful to Akeno's character. Those were the two main fights that I wanted to talk about, but I do have a few others that I do still want to talk about. These ones were bad, but I don't think they were bad enough to be considered like the worst fights.
Irina!
Well, it is the Red Dragon Emperor. Of course he's stronger than the others.
Kiba! Sinovia! I wish I'd gotten to fight the Red Dragon Emperor. Rossweiser!
When I say the hero faction versus the ORC, I don't mean Issei versus Soso. That's the one exception for this fight. That's the only reason this fight didn't make this list. I was very disappointed when we see all these characters running into battle against each other, and then like 3 minutes later everybody was taken out off screen. I mean, this is just a lazy way to get the battle over with. We see these characters powering up and fighting each other for 10 seconds, then it cuts to Issei and Soso, and then it cuts back to all of them just being knocked out. What's the point of even having them there if we don't even get to see them fight? I guess you could say the point was to show the sacred gears, but they really did a bad job at doing that. It's just an underwhelming battle overall, besides for the Issei and Soso part, of course. And we've seen them do battles before, where we go through multiple fights and we're switching different perspectives. So it's weird that they can't get this one right, but they get the other ones right. Like the Cocoa Bill fight, we're seeing them fight different type of people. And then the Loki fight, they were fighting Loki's pets the whole time, and they were switching between perspectives. They did that decently well. I don't know why they couldn't get this one right though. I'm not even asking for anything crazy, just at least show how the characters were all defeated. That would have been a way better alternative than just having them getting knocked out off screen. We see Rossweiser getting one-shotted by Heracles, but then she comes back, and that's the only time we see them take any type of damage. It again just feels so lazily done. I did really like the Issei versus Soso part. When they were fighting, the animation did look good. Soso is just breaking down everything Issei is doing, and that really is something we hadn't seen before. I also really like how they built Soso in this fight. Similar to the volley fight, Soso wasn't trying that hard against Issei. Also, one of my viewers mentioned this, but Issei's Triana move really is one of the best things we've seen. It's so cool seeing him switch between the different pieces. Overall though, this battle got completely saved by Issei versus Soso. I really wanted to see more out of the side characters, but they almost just get forgotten about. Besides for Saji, if you remove everyone else from the fight, literally nothing changes. Besides for Issei versus Soso, this battle wasn't that much of a battle. Kiba versus Freed was kind of disappointing. At this point, you all should know how I feel about Freed. I always enjoy the times when he's on the screen, but this one is his least enjoyable moment. It's just really sad seeing my boy go out like that. But feelings aside, this fight just isn't good. It's just a single sword slice and boom, Freed's gone. It's very disappointing, but it still kind of makes sense. There's no reason for Freed to be on the same level as Kiba, especially since Kiba's been training. But I do wish they showcased a little bit more of Freed's new ability. I mean, what was the point of him even pulling it out if he doesn't even get to use it? But he did give us the iconic Diodora the Explorer line.
Diodora the Explorer!
So I guess that's something. Just another underwhelming fight. I expect more from a scene from Freed, but I guess it's alright. I can't really knock this fight too much. Rias and Akeno versus Matelt, Kala Warner, and Donaseek. This fight sucks, and like the Conla fight, it feels like it's there just to fill time. I don't get the point of Rias and Akeno taking so long to beat these three. I mean, Rias literally beats them in one move, and then she beats them and then just waits for Issei to beat Rainier. So it's not like it's there for plot reasons. It's just a boring fight, but at least it makes sense. We get to see Rias' power. We also got to see Akeno throwing up gang signs, so that was pretty cool too. It's definitely not a fight that moves me, but we still got some moments in there, I guess. But it was mid. Issei versus Irina was also disappointing. I don't even get the point of these two fighting. I mean, Irina wasn't even the one who said anything, and it didn't even seem like Issei wanted to fight her. He wasn't even taking that fight seriously. It's just a random fight that's there for no reason. It kind of feels like they're just trying to force the main character into a fight, but I would have much rather preferred it just being Kiba versus Zenobia. But I mean, I guess the fight is still funny. It's just pointless. I don't really see the reason of it being there. And those are all the fights I want to talk about. High School DxD really has a few stinkers when it comes to fights, but most of them aren't really bad. A lot of them are just mid, but that doesn't really ruin the experience for me. I still really enjoyed this series. For my light novel fans, you should expect a light novel video very soon. I'm going to try my best to change my upload schedule to where I'm uploading 2 videos a week instead of 1, but we'll see how that works out. I also just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for all the support we had. This channel has come so far in like the 2 or 3 months I've been posting. I've really enjoyed making videos so far, so thank you for that. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.